We are on. Hi, welcome to my talk show. I don't know.
We knew this would happen one day. We knew Megan would have a talk show. This is just the beginning.
My quarantine talk show.
Yes.
So far, that's like where it's at. Who knows what it's called or how long this will last. But for now, this is fun. Right?
Yes, it's great. This is good.
I like connecting with people.
Oh, I know. I don't know how you're existing right now. Well, like not being able to like walk out to backstage and just like find who's ever there and just like start a conversation.
That's true.
Somehow, doesn't matter who it is, like you'll find something that pertains to them. The 100 people we have in the company.
So
it's amazing.
Let's let people know like the difference between us. So if you were if you were stuck alone with a person in the company that you like didn't know very well, there's not a conversation that's going to happen. Is that true?
I mean,
you actually are closer to younger people in the company that sometimes I feel I don't know. Like I feel like if you've done a ballet with them, you're close.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the way to Sarah's
it's like
heart.
We're in an experience together, right? Yeah. We're going through something together, a journey.
Yeah. And I think you definitely give people credit immediately for the work that they put in. Like you're definitely like I care what you do in the studio type of person.
Yeah. I think I'm actually more shy with people my age. And I don't know why, but for some reason, because they're younger than me, I feel like I can maybe help them and like break the ice a little bit. Because when we got in the company, right, it wasn't really like that.
No, it was an intimidating experience.
Yes, and there was no like you going up to somebody and having a conversation.
No, and sometimes like I would hear from a principal, and it would be like, "You got to do that bigger," and I was like, "It was mercurial." I was doing the little two girls.
Yeah.
And one of the principals came up who was doing the pas de deux, and she was like, "You guys have to just do everything bigger. What you're doing now is not enough." And we were like, totally like offended because we thought we were doing it great and larger than life. But like if that's the only time you encounter a senior person in your company, that's an intimidating way to approach someone.
I think we do that now, and I know you do that and I do that, but we do it in a different way.
Well, we're friendly with them.
It's constructive and it's like friendly and it's like we're friends talking.
Yeah.
And I think they appreciate that.
Right. It's a different thing is what I'm saying. It's not like this intimidating, you better work harder.
Yeah, or you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be me.
Yeah, yeah.
Is basically what they were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm not like that. I'm always putting myself down usually. I'm never like, "Oh, that was fierce." I'm like, "Oh my God, did you see that?"
So for people that don't know, tell them, how did you like get to be where you are today? When did you become a principal? Did things happen really quickly for you? Was it easy? Mm-hmm. Like, what was your first experience? Couple years in the company, was it fun or was it like stressful?
It was not fun. I'm just going to tell you that. Okay. I mean. I did this interview the other day, and you get asked that question, like, so you're in school, and then you got your apprenticeship, and you got into the company. And I was like, yes. And they're like, it's amazing. And I'm like, yes, there's a part of it that's amazing, right? But the school was not great for me. I was at the bottom of the class as soon as I got there, and I had to work my way up, which is fine. But, like, I got my apprenticeship. And then you're back down at the bottom again. Like you're at the top of the school, and then you get into company class, and you're standing next to like Kieran Nichols and Darcy Kistler and Wendy Whalen.
I have to admit, what generation are you behind me? Like 2 years?
2?
Like I got in 2001, my apprenticeship.
Yeah, 2 years.
So like you weren't really even like on my radar. I knew your brother. But like,
my brother was at the school with you.
He was my generation, but I didn't really know much about you, and I didn't really know you were like up and coming or anything. Like, so at the school, you were kind of in a quiet way.
I was nobody's up and coming, girl. Like back of the class.
Looking back, do you think that matters? And And why was it that way?
It was that way because there were so many other people that were better than me. Like my class and the C2 class that was even ahead of me. So the generation between you and me was insane. Like I knew that I had to work my butt off if I wanted to be seen because I didn't have what those other girls had. I didn't have the legs, the turnout, the turns, the jump. I didn't have any of that. Like I really didn't. But I really, really, really wanted to be there because I had nowhere else to be. If I had gone back to South Carolina, I would have stopped dancing. So I just was there like 200% because I didn't have anything else.
So when you first came to SAB, were you like kind of shocked by the talent level? Or before I came out to New York, someone told me, someone at Ballet West, a teacher told me, you're not going to be the best and you're not going to be the worst. I was like, okay. Just like as a way to like...
You're going to be cute middle ground. Baby.
Well, as a way to prepare you, because when you come from a really small school and then you go to this bigger environment, some people aren't prepared for the fact that when that talent pool is widened, and it's not just your small little city or state, it's the entire U.S. and even more internationally. Like some people aren't prepared for that, suddenly they're not the best. Were you prepared for that?
I don't actually remember if I was. I just remember being very intimidated, but it made me want it more and work harder. Yeah. And I don't know, I found my little group of people that were sort of the same, and we sort of worked twice as hard because we didn't have what the other people had. So I was sort of a dork. I was like, we stayed in the studio much longer than everybody else. We got there much earlier than everybody else. And it's like that sort of...
Who was part of that group with you? Anyone I know?
Evelyn Kosak.
Oh, interesting.
She was my roommate.
Oh, I didn't know you guys were close. Do you guys keep in touch?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
But we were definitely close roommates. And Ezra was at the school then. Ezra and I go way back.
I did not know that. Say his last name so everyone knows who we're talking about.
Ezra Hurwitz. He is a filmmaker, but he's also Gonzalo Garcia's boyfriend.
Love it. I should put a little pop-up of his face.
You should.
Maybe my editing skills will get good by then. That's incredible. I didn't realize that. So
then, like, going back, getting into the company, those first couple of years were really, really bad for me because I again got really intimidated and felt like I didn't belong there. And I mean,
and why
there was people like you and freaking Ashley Knapp and Tess and Carla Corbs and like all these people, Bowder, and I'm just like, I can't do this.
Why did you feel like you didn't belong? Like I have my list of things that I felt like self-conscious about. Like what was it something that made you feel nervous about to do in front of everybody, or what for you was the thing? Was it everything, or was it just that you felt like I don't somehow
No, it was everything. It was just like I just knew I wasn't as good as anybody else. Like I just knew I wasn't, and I didn't want to show that. I was really embarrassed almost. And it's not like yes, we have to be a certain level to get in New York City Ballet, right? That's what it is. But once you get there and you see the actual level of dancing that it is that you're surrounded by at that time, you're like, oh my God. Like it was insane. And it was crippling to me. So the first year and a half, it was really bad. I gained a lot of weight
because you were overwhelmed.
Yeah. And also the first season I got in, we did the Balanchine Centennial. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
And we did like 75 ballets in like 9 weeks. And they were throwing the apprentices in everything because they didn't have anybody else. So in a way, it was also a learning experience because you didn't have time to think about anybody else or yourself. But then for some reason, it got really overwhelming. And a year and a half in, I had a meeting. It was in Saratoga. And they said, we don't know if this is the right place for you. And And it was when we used to it's when we used to have the 3-month layoff still.
Was this
between Saratoga?
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We used to have a layoff from July until like October. No, like, it was like August,
the beginning of
September.
November.
August, September, October.
Off, yeah.
Because we didn't have a fall season.
Right. And so, like, in the moment when they did that, I was like, oh, I'm done. Like, this is it. Like, I ruined my chance. But they were like, you need to go home and you need to figure out if you really want this. And I was like, okay. So I went home for the layoff, and I don't really remember doing anything. I don't know what I did. Nothing. I really have no recollection of what happened. And then I came back, and it was that we were rehearsing for Nutcracker and rehearsing Swan. And all of a sudden, one day, my name is up on the schedule for Swan.
Went from you don't belong here to we want you to do Swan Lake in a couple months.
Literally.
So how many months did you have to prepare?
Well, we were already performing Nutcracker. So it must have been the beginning of December.
And you debuted Dewdrop then, or the next year?
No, I was doing Snow and Flowers, girl.
Oh, wow.
Girl, no. Snow and Flowers, every show. And they were having me learn some of the diverse months in Swan Lake. Like, I learned Spanish. I was doing Spanish. I learned Russian. I, learned these things. But then all of a sudden, my name went up by itself with Meryl. And I was like,
what is that?
Happening?
So was it introduced to you as, like, your backup? And let's see how this goes if they need you? Or you're going to do the last cast?
Well, they had, 2 or 3 ballerinas out that season.
Okay.
Like, Maria was one of them. She was out. Miranda, I think, was out. There were all these people that were out, so they needed to fill these gaps. And you experienced this, right? What Peter liked to do. He used to pluck really, really young people out of the corps and just throw them in and see what happens, right? Yeah. That's how we all got where we are. So that's what happened. But I did have to learn the whole thing and then show it. And there was a couple of us that did that. And
there were a couple of you.
Yeah. There was a couple of us. And I got the slot.
So there was 2 or 3 of you, and you guys had to kind of present it and audition it, and then one of you was picked.
Basically.
Interesting. Gosh, it's weird. I don't even remember this time of it happening, or you get into your own world and
I know. Well, you were already sort of there already. You were. Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
You were there.
I was probably I'm 2 years older than you. I was probably already a principal.
Right. I mean, you might have. I don't know if you were doing Patakat yet, but maybe you were.
I probably was doing Patakat because I did it for a really long time.
Yeah, you were doing Patakat work. But yeah, so then when that happened, it was oh, okay. I was filling Maria's slot because she was out for a long time. So I did Swan, and then 2 weeks later I did Western, Fourth Movement, and then I did Brahms, Fourth Movement, all in that same season.
That's incredible.
And then
what amazing parts. What? Those are some amazing parts.
Right.
Even now in your career, those are parts you still are wow, that's
Brahms,
some intense stuff. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So it once that happened, then it happened fast. And then when I was promoted soloist, that DC. We toured to DC right after that winter season.
So Swan Lake was in January, and you got promoted in March, and it was just 6 months.
Yeah, there was a big group of us at that time.
And there was just promoted. 6 months before they were telling you, we don't think you belong here.
But looking back now, they did that to light a fire under my butt, right? They knew that I had it in me, but they sort of had to scare me.
That's true. I hear that. I mean, I had that a little bit too. I had this one moment with Meryl. She was like, well, I'll just say it. She was like, there's 2 things that happen when people join a company.
Okay.
And I was like, I hope I have the better one. I don't know what these 2 options are. And she was like, one of them, people gain weight. And I was like, please don't be the first. And then 2 was that people stop not working hard, but they're not working in the same way that's bringing the same output. People lose that discipline that you have in a school. And she was like, I think that you need to work harder. And it was literally months after that I did Coppelia.
Oh, so that lit a little fire in your butt.
I don't know if it lit a fire or just made me paranoid.
Right.
I can't say. I didn't think I wasn't working hard, right? You know?
No, I know. But she did that to people. So.
And in a way, you know, you look back and you're like, oh, I'm grateful for the heads up. Like, you can't tell me.
Yeah.
Actually, she did. She did say in that conversation, she was like, there's going to be some opportunities and you need to be ready. And I was like, when you're young, you don't think that they would be thinking of you for any of these things. So in your head, you're like, well, I'm just working for my core spots. And they're looking at you, possibly thinking you're the next generation, and we need you to be on your A game.
Yeah, like, we're not thinking that because there's so many people around us that we're like, they'll get it. Like, this will be them.
You're, like, self-conscious. You're like, I'm not good enough. And they need to be the ones to be like, no. You're the next in line, and you got to keep it going, and you got to.
Yeah.
They have to let you know what to expect out of yourself. But it's not an easy thing for no one gets into a company and goes, I'm going to be doing these principal roles, so this is what I'm going to prepare for.
Well.
Some people do. Okay, some people do. That's right. Do you like my Christmas mug? It's very old school, but
so old school. You're such a.
It's like, you know, like
mommy. I love it.
This is my parents. It's like, you know, like laundry day. It's like dish hour. This is the dishes are being done.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's interesting though. But like, we all got the little warning, and then you take advantage of that moment, and it ends up working well. But I think a lot of people could take that moment and get depressed about it.
Well, yeah, but then I had another slip up when I was after soloist. When I was promoted soloist, I had another like year and a half there where I was like not good. Like, I gained weight again, and I just wasn't my best, and I was like floundering again, and I don't know why. Maybe it was like personal life stuff.
It's hard to be.
I think it was personal life stuff.
It's also hard to be a soloist.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
It's really hard because suddenly you have nothing to do. You're not spending the day with your friends doing the same thing, and you feel like kind of like all alone, and you don't know what's expected of you.
Yeah. And I think I was going through some really crazy personal stuff, so it really derailed me. And then I had, no, my injury was after that. Yeah, so I had stuff. And then I had the Robin season in 2008, the spring season. Like, that was like my breakout season, and I did like, I was doing core, soloist, and principal roles all at the same time. And then at the end of that season, like after Sonobula, they came up to me on stage and was like, you're promoted to principal.
You don't identify yourself more as a Robbins dancer than a Balanchine dancer, do you?
I don't, but that season, Maria was out again, so I was put into...
Maria Kurowski.
Maria Kurowski, she was out again, and I was put into all of her Robbins rep. And so I think so people know this is how it happens. Like, it's not like a space just magically opens up. Like, you have to be ready for when that opportunity is available, and it's never convenient or in a timely manner, but when it opens up, you gotta take that moment and seize it and do something with it. And then when that person or that ballerina comes back, like Maria comes back, you have to respect it, and you have to be like, okay, she's back. She gets her roles back. You're going to have to like step back a minute and wait your turn. Mm-hmm. Like, she's, you can't expect to like always have it all the time.
You know what's interesting that happened for Ashley and I, for our rep that we do in the company, is that the ballerinas that we were replacing, they left.
They did.
Margaret retired. At like 34. Margaret Tracy. Miranda Weiss left at like 34, 35.
Antonelli.
Alexandra Antonelli left at like 28, I think.
So early.
So that's really early for principals, especially principal women. So
that's where we are right now. That's us right now.
I know.
Sorry to we just put our age out there, but yes, that is us.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. Well, we're hanging in there.
We are hanging in there, Megan.
I feel that I'm thriving. I don't feel like I'm like dangling and hanging on.
No, you're definitely not dangling. You're doing good. and I had to like help you this past season. You're like, I have too much rep.
Yeah, I never had that. I never had that problem before having too much repertoire.
You were like, I don't do double bills. I don't know how to do them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're good. It's going to be so good. Your body's going to love it.
I have to say, that first double bill that I did last season was so much harder than the last one. I think it was like a mental thing in my head. I don't think I can do this. And then by the last one, it was like a piece of cake.
What was the last one?
Well, by the last double bill, it was the same program.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's just like you now understand what it is and your body understands what it is.
Yeah, and also they were both debuts. So that's a little more intimidating.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. And it's Alexi. Any Alexi debut, you're just like...
Oh, we should talk about him too. Okay. Tell everybody about this crazy rib injury you had and like the details of how you came back from it.
Rib and back.
Yeah, rib and back. Well,
it's really... Right. Okay.
Wait, Sarah, stay in the center of your screen. Sorry, to give you a correction. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
I had 2 back injuries, but my second one was worse. And they were basically caused by the same thing, meaning overwork, too much rep, not taking care of my body, not going to PT, not paying attention. But the second one, for some reason, was worse because there was more things involved, and we thought at first that it was my rib, which my rib, I have a floating rib that's not really good, and we thought that was the problem that was making my back spasm, and we thought it was fractured at one point, which I think there was probably a hairline fracture, but it wasn't really
Do you think
determined.
It was from partnering, from being like handled roughly? No.
I literally think it was because I just kept getting tighter and more twisted and just not fixing it. And doctors just kept telling me, we don't know what's wrong with you. You're making it up. We can't find anything, blah, 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 for months. And then 8 months in, I found this doctor through a friend of mine who was a player on the New York Rangers. And his doctor, basically doctor, he got me back in a month on stage.
Wow.
He put my body back in alignment, and he was like, I laid down the table and he's like, I'll fix you.
So you basically just needed like an osteopath.
Well, no. So he's not an osteopath. He's an athletic, like, physical therapist, and he works for, what was that basketball team that won last year? The NBA. They're from Toronto, from Canada. And then he works for the, like, Red Sox. He's like one of the top people.
Okay. And
he just knows how the body is supposed to be aligned and, like, certain things. Like, it came from my hips. My psoas and my hips were so tight and so twisted that it pulled up my scoliosis and made my back just completely freeze up, and I couldn't do anything.
So is that why you have this stretching regimen you have before you start your dancing day?
Yes. I have like 30 minutes of stretching that I do every morning that opens up everything, which is the beginning of like stretching for hours later in the day. But like, I just feel like I have to do this every morning for my body just to like exist.
So you're stretching your hips a lot. Like I always see you with your leg up on a bar and you're leaning forward with your leg in like a front attitude.
Yeah, because your hips are what make your back open up. And I never really put those two together, but he's the one that's like, well, if your psoas is so tight, it's pulling on your back and you're going to be like this. So then it pulls on your back and then your hips get tight and everything's connected. So it just sort of, opened up my eyes. And then he got me back dancing within a month. And I'm, obviously I've had other injuries. Like I've had like 5 sprained ankles and like strains to every body part of, and like my neck has been out it's just like insane. But it's never been since then, knock on wood, like an injury like that.
Do you think
taken me
because of that experience, you're like hyper aware to like stop before you get injured now?
Yes. Or it's just, I will spend hours in PT to do anything to feel better. And yes, you become so hyper aware of every single thing in your body that you stop it before it goes there.
Yeah.
And you can literally tell the warning signs, and it's like little red lights,
I used to
go
have
off.
warning signs that I didn't realize for my calf, and I would just push
Right.
past. I would get to this point where my calf would start to feel really fatigued during the day, and I'd be like, oh, I'm just tired, I just got to push through. And it was like, no. Fatigue was a sign. Something was out in my back, which was trickling down through a nerve and affecting, what do they call it, facilitating the muscle, whatever they
Yep, and then you'll strain your calf.
Yeah, and the next day I would wake up with a strained calf if I pushed through it. And now I know to be like, today I'm done. Like, I gotta, whatever happens after this hour, I have to cancel.
It's like knowing when you're done.
Yeah.
Like knowing when, how much you can put in that day. And also depends on like what you have to do that night.
Right. How, we have a luxury because we have a principal schedule, and we're kind of like, we do what is best for us, because that's kind of the positive thing about being a principal is you get to prioritize yourself. Your day is not affecting anybody else's as much as it is if you're in the Corps. So like, how would you what advice would you give to like people in the Corps or apprentices or, trainees that are like feeling like their bodies are dying and they know they need to take a break, but like, how would you manage that if you were at that moment in your career and you had to keep pushing to get ahead?
I think now I will say in our company that is a very different scenario where we, or the dancers, feel more comfortable now to go up to the ballet master, to go up to the person who's running the room and say, or go to Marika Molnar, who runs our physical therapy, and say, I am not feeling good, my body is shot, or this is hurting. And they'll immediately say, okay, you need to take it easy, because they know how valuable one person is in the Corps de Ballet and how that will affect like 10 people.
Right.
So they'd rather you stop now and be okay for the show tonight, because what matters is the show.
Right.
Rehearsals, you can be in tennis shoes if you have to, and you can be there as a body. But I think something has changed now in the mentality, which is great, that they cannot run dancers into the ground, because eventually they will be dealing with a much bigger situation, and they can afford to do that.
Right.
So I would say that, like, if you're feeling like that, you need to voice it.
Right.
You have to tell them, because then they can do something about it and they can manage your schedule. And I know all the people in the Corps de Ballet feel like that. So it's not like people are going to get mad at you.
Right.
They might get mad in the moment, but they'll understand eventually.
Right.
And they know the consequences that if you are pushed to that limit and you actually go out for a longer period of time, that it will affect so much more.
Right. Don't you feel lucky to be past that moment, though? Like, I remember being in my early 20s and feeling a pain crop up in the morning and being, like, so nervous about my day. Yeah. And now we have more knowledge about our bodies at this age, and you're able to, to not freak out, because I know what that is. I just have to lay off of this. Or when something's serious. And when you're younger, every little pain feels urgent and important and scary.
Yes, it does. And then I think that's also why it's important. I think why we speak to the young dancers now is because we'll give them perspective. We'll give them,
like, you shouldn't push through that. Yeah.
We can tell, okay, what are you feeling? What is this? What do you have for the rest of the day? And that they can, like, ask us that, or they can come to us with that. And I think more communication, the better in these situations. But yes, I am grateful that I'm past that. But like, I mean, girl, we still wake up with like, I got like a list in the morning every day. I'm like, what hurts the most? Okay, I'll deal with that first.
I feel like your list is longer than mine. Maybe it's because you're a taller person. There's more, there's more body to, I don't have much length to me. I don't often wake up with a list.
Oh, well, you are. That is fierce for you.
I'm not trying to. I mean, I have my things here and there, but
right.
No, it's also possible, like, you push yourself to these limits that I'm probably not willing to go to. I'm not sure which one it is. Okay, let's move on. Wait, now I want to know how you got to the place where you decided that company class was not for you.
Oh gosh, here we go. Boom, 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 boom.
Because I'm a company class, lover.
I know you are.
I love it.
But we've talked about this. You love the social aspect, which helps you in the morning. It helps you
helps
wake
me
up.
Get going. And I also like the fact that if I'm going to have to put my body through this, I like us to all be in misery together.
Yes. Right. I mean, I guess I like to be in misery alone. If we'll go that route, which is true.
Like if I could have like 10 other people rehearsing Tarantella with me at the same time, that'd be really fun for me. And then I would find a competitiveness about it and push myself. But when I'm in a room by myself rehearsing Tarantella, the motivation is
it's not cute.
I really, really have to dig deep. So that's what I like about it is I kind of check in and I got to see other people and I got to see making sure I'm falling in line with where I expect myself to be within the range of talent. Just like it helps me check in with, am I keeping up?
Okay. Well, in that respect, I go the opposite where like I see people like they're on their leg, they're like feeling fierce and I'm like, I'm not that. Like I look like crap right now. Like I feel like crap and I look like crap and I'm embarrassed and too shy to go and like do the combination. Like that's how I am in the morning.
That
like
is
it's
crazy.
Bad.
So like you need to be having complete privacy to be able to get your body ready where you need to be.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody to see the unfinished product.
Well, no, I'm just too embarrassed and shy in the morning to like.
Well, it's also you're not.
I'm fine falling off. Like
You're not a morning person.
You see me fall off the top. I'm not a morning person.
No.
But also, I will say that there was a point where, and this is under the older directorship, whatever we went through, I was feeling that company class was not setting me up properly. And I just felt like I needed something more. And so what I did is I put combinations together from all these different teachers that I really love and admire and made this class for myself that I do every morning.
So you're doing when you do your own bar before we all see you and you unveil yourself to the world, you're doing the same combinations every time?
Yeah, basically I do, like it's a full class. It's like I've gotten it down to like 35 minutes, but it's
I have noticed
like 45 minutes.
I've noticed it's fast.
It is. Well, that's also like I don't have to wait.
I
don't have to wait for people to take the combinations or like in the center. I don't got to wait for people to go.
Well,
I just go.
I can get warm in 20 minutes, so I'm not judging you.
Girl, but I do full bar and center.
I know, that's impressive.
Like, I can't not do center. Like, I see people walking in rehearsal, and they're like, okay. I'm like, can't. Like, people are like, oh, you do your own class. I'm like, yes, but they don't realize that I actually do, like, a full bar with everything and center with everything.
Yeah, you're disciplined.
Like, I can't not do that.
See, so, like, you like to live in the world I experience when I'm on a gig, where you have to warm yourself up, and you're, like, have to find your balance on your own, and like maybe even without a mirror. Like that is my worst nightmare. Yes. I don't enjoy that experience.
Oh, well,
so that's interesting. Everyone,
it's not that I enjoy it.
Okay,
I won't say I enjoy it, but I will say that for me, like the basics and simple stuff and simple combinations are the hardest for me, and class is the hardest for me. Taking class is really, really hard. Like doing rep and doing rehearsals, that's the easy part of my day. Class is where it shows all of my flaws. Mm-hmm. It's like because it's just not
that's
easy
your biggest
for me.
Challenge.
It's my biggest challenge, and I've have this need to like work really hard. And sometimes in my class, if like something's not working, I'll do it again. Right. And I don't have that luxury in company class.
You can't pace company class. You just got to go with the flow.
And sometimes company class, you don't get to jumps until like 5 minutes before because we have an hour class and it's like really hard. And I feel
or
like.
you have no space or.
Yeah. And I don't want to rely on that. I want to I know I'm going to get through my class and I know what I have to do that day and I'm going to prepare myself in that class for the day.
Right.
But now I am getting better. I am getting better, Megan.
I'm not judging you.
We have more teachers now. We have teachers coming in.
Yeah.
And their main job is to teach. They are a teacher for life. Yeah. Right? So that they have different classes. They approach it differently.
Right.
And I feel like I'm getting a lot out of them.
Yeah, me too. I'm enjoying the variety.
The variety of classes that we have now is very, very good.
Yeah, I'm glad you're seeing the light. Because I want to see you in class. Tell us about we see on Instagram all of your Joel workouts. Who is Joel? What's he about? What does he give you? Why are you addicted and all of this?
Okay, so I think it was over 2 years. Yeah, it was 2 years ago, this past January. I was hurt and I had to cancel a show because of my back. And I put it on Instagram. And he messaged me and was like, I am tired of seeing you hurt. I am tired of listening to this, basically. And
he was a dancer.
He was a soloist in Boston.
Oh,
he was awesome and amazing. And he's married to a dancer who was in American Ballet Theater. And he's been trained.
Prodwdy or just Rowdy?
No. Proudy.
Proudy.
Wait. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if I thought it was Rowdy. It's Proudy.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's just the Instagram name. Okay. But he's been training dancers for many, many years and, just not like putting it out there. And he keeps and that's the thing is he keeps all of his clients like secret or like they used to, like they didn't.
That's your jam. You like that privacy thing of no.
Right. But like a lot of dancers, they don't want people to know that they're going to train like this.
This is, did you find it first intimidating when you went to meet with him? Cause he's this like buff dude. And you're like, as a ballet dancer, we always like to be streamlined and not get bulky in our muscles. So how did you navigate that?
But then who I found out when I heard who he was training, I was like, okay, that's cute.
Okay, so we don't share who he's training. But it was still
very intimidating because I knew that his workouts were like beyond, and that's what I was afraid of. And I just didn't think I was going to get through it, and I didn't think that. I don't know. I was just terrified.
So how long are the workouts?
The workouts were an hour.
That's pretty long.
It's long. It's an hour long.
That's long for when you're doing like squats and stuff.
It's a lot.
Like half an hour. Half an hour is a good squat amount of time. You know what?
But we start with that, and then we like the thing is he went to school for this. He studied it. He knows the ins and outs of what we need to look like and what we're supposed to look like and what's important to us as dancers. But the thing is, he has so many other clients that are not dancers. Mm-hmm. Like, it's half and half. I shouldn't say that.
Are the other people athletes, or are they just like regular people?
Regular people. Like legit regular people. But he loves, his main love is training athletes and dancers. Mm-hmm. So we've been working for over 2 years now, and it's really because I was so weak from all my injuries and compensating that it has now, and I'm not saying I'm nowhere near like the best, but like I feel a difference. I completely feel a difference in my stamina, and that's also a big thing. That's one of his big things is
like muscle stamina
of like, and he says, you are not weak. You're tired. When you're in a ballet
cool. I like that.
And you feel like you're not going to be able to get through it, he's like, you're not weak. You're just tired. So go out there and keep going. Right. And that's what we've got to that point. It's like, okay, I can get through this ballet. I'm just tired. But like my body's going to do it. And before, I didn't think that was going to happen. I was scared of getting through ballets because I was weak. And I look strong, but like the smaller, deeper muscles that actually have to be on all the time, those were never on. Mm-hmm. So, you know, what we work on is like repetitions of like really boring exercises. But that's what gets your muscles warmed up and gets it when you get to that point in a ballet where you have to do all those big jumps and turns at the end of a ballet.
Right.
Your muscles are ready.
Right. So
they're fine.
Are you working mostly turned in or turned out?
Well, a lot of it is in parallel. Uh-huh. But then when we do like the stuff on the Bosu ball and doing like fondus and développés and stuff, it's all turned out. And he's like, I wear like the amount, like I'm completely covered. He can't see me, which he hates. He's just like, I can't see your legs. I'm like, I don't care. You can see them. I'm not taking this off.
I'm still under construction.
Literally, I'm under construction. So, but he can see if my bottom leg is not straight or if this leg is not straight. And it's all about straight legs, long, holding things, not just like falling out of them. And it's like this combination of building this strength, but also having long limbs and stability and having these moments of like, he's like, at the end of a variation, when you have to go up to arabesque and stay, I don't want you to see arabesque and down. Uh-huh. Like he studies it. Like he goes and watches and he studies and he knows what we have to do because he did it.
I just thought of a ballet where I'd want that for.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That one exit in Allegro.
Yes. After the chaînés.
Yep. After those en dedans.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've fallen
anyway,
before.
So that's why I'm addicted. It's like
I hear you.
It's gotten to me to this place of like I'm confident that my body's going to get through it now.
That's cool.
And I'm not going to get as injured as I did before because I'm not compensating. Like everything's working together. Both sides are working equally.
When you do a new kind of workout thing, like discovering him, is there a moment where you're like, I don't know if this is going to work for me and what I want for ballet? Like, because like the idea to do like squats as a ballet dancer, like you know, we're all doing them in like the PT workouts now that are happening for the company. But like for a while it was like, don't use your quads, don't use, you know, there's that with the ballet, like to not like work out in a certain way and certain muscles that you should never ever strengthen or touch. And what would you say to that?
I would say that's wrong, and I would say that, and I wouldn't say this 3 years ago, right? I would not say this 3 years ago, but I'm saying that now because I see the science that is behind it and how he's catered it to us, and that you don't add a lot of weight, right? It's your own body weight that you're working with, and sometimes, yes, I have the barbells, but it's not every session, and it's only for very, very specific moments, and we don't do a lot of them. So, and yeah, it's not like bodybuilding. You're not like doing
as
this
soon as
with
I
these
see
weights.
like those barbell things, I'm like, that's not for ballet dancers.
Yeah, but you do a very specific amount, and those are like at the end of the session when you're really, really tired, and you have to train your muscle to carry this load that it doesn't want to, like at the end of a ballet.
Is he going to start producing his workouts in a way that other people could do them?
I don't know. He's talked about it, but I think he's
like working on his. For a young dancer that wants to like know what you're talking about, what is the most similar type of exercise that would be helpful to them? That you feel like, wow, that's something that I know that strength is necessary for ballet. Is it just like regular like lunge kind of squat thing?
Every day, that's what I do. I do them every day. I do squats in second. I do 10, and then I do 10 from one leg to développé front.
So is the front leg turned out?
No, everything's turned in.
Everything's turned in.
Because that's also why ballet dancers get so weak, because they're so turned out all the time and they don't train the muscles turned in, which is when that's how they're supposed to work. You have to train the muscles to be turned in, and then you can use them when they're turned out. Like they actually fire. So like if you always do this, like you lose so much muscle and you lose so much strength.
I hear you.
So everything is turned in for me.
That's great.
And it's much harder.
And it's good for your back.
So good for
Yeah.
your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question is...
Oh, God. Okay.
How you doing? Are you hanging in there?
I'm great.
Okay. My next question is Cunningham.
Oh.
You seem to be obsessed in a way. Tell us.
It's sort of like the workouts. It's like it brings your body back to neutral.
Okay, let's explain to everybody. So, when was your first experience with the Cunningham technique? That company's not around anymore, right? Merce Cunningham?
No, it closed down.
When?
Yeah. After he passed away.
And how did it get revived in a way where there's classes that you're taking?
They've always continued. New York City Center, the theater, has big studios, and the Cunningham Trust, Merce Cunningham Trust, has classes there every day, Monday through Friday. But the trust also has like pop-up performances and things that they do. And when I was doing my Isadora Duncan stuff with Paul Taylor, they contacted me after that out of the blue and said, would you want to be involved in the Cunningham Centennial, which is celebrating his 100th birthday, which was last year. And I had never seen Cunningham, really. I never experienced it. I never had anything to do with it.
Were you kind of shocked? You were like, oh my God, I'm getting into such a modern world. Like,
I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. I mean, well, tell me how the Paul Taylor thing came about first, even. Because you did that, you did that before.
Right. So the Isadora Duncan came about the year before, where I did a solo with the Isadora Duncan Company at the Joyce Theater. And I was recommended to the Duncan people by Misha to be part of their Joyce evening. So I did a solo for them. And then when I did that, Paul Taylor's company contacted us and said, we're doing this evening or these programs that are 4 different modern choreographers, famous modern people like Trisha Brown. And they wanted to include Isadora Duncan. So they commissioned the Duncan Foundation and me to do a solo, which was basically we put 11 solos together to make a 30-minute solo. So I did that in the Paul Taylor season.
Right.
And then after that is when Cunningham contacted me and said, would you like to be part of this? And at first I was like, you're joking. Why would you want someone that's never done it before or seen it and a ballerina to be part of this? But then I was like, you can't say no. Like, you'd be stupid to say no. This is like saying no to the ballerina celebration.
That's why I did Broadway. Like, it was just this moment of, well, I didn't plan on doing this. This sounds insane, but I'm not going to say no.
No. Why would you say no? That's dumb.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, I had no idea what I was going to, or how I was going to do this. So then I obviously said yes. And then what I basically committed was that I was not going to fake this. I was not going to go on stage and be a ballerina or like do this as a ballerina. I needed to legit try to become a Cunningham dancer. So I took like 6 to 7 months of Cunningham straight while we were doing our seasons at City Ballet.
Don't you remember we were in DC together and you would like be doing these Cunningham classes in our dressing room?
Yeah. And I was like doing the solos.
And I was like, what is going on? But look at you now. So,
I know. So during that process, I got really addicted to what the technique is. And it's not for everybody, but
the philosophy of the technique.
Yes. And you don't have a bar, you don't have anything to rely on. Like everything is on your own 2 feet in the center from the beginning. And what I really love is that they start with these back exercises that open up every part of your back that we never do as a ballet dancer. We never go to the deep part of the lower back, from the beginning and open up the nerves.
Right.
And be able to move in every direction.
Right.
And I do those back exercises every morning now before I do ballet. And like right now in this crazy time, I do Cunningham class at 1:00 every day.
How long
because
is the
I'm
class?
able
Is
to.
it an hour and a half?
Well, these ones an hour 45, but usually, yeah, they're like an hour and a half, hour and 45.
And is it like really turned in?
Both turn in and turn out. You have to be able to do both. So we do the combination. Every combination is turned in, and then you do everything turned out.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and what
that's
has
great,
transferred
actually.
from like my workouts.
That's
to
like a physical therapist's dream.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
like the adagio is so hard that like, and you have to be able to do it all on your own from the beginning, and that's what really scared me. But also, everything is now equal, and like I'm not scared of adagio anymore. I was always scared of it.
I know.
In ballet, because like you do it at bar, but then when you get on center, you're like fall over.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, you have to be on your own 2 feet. And you have to, and also it's like they like that you struggle. Like if you're falling over, you have to find it.
Right.
Like there's nothing to rely on. You're gonna find it. So that has been a very transformative experience for me, and also because coming from ballet and only being the only ballerina that did the Centennial, like I felt like, okay, I really have to do this. Like I really have to commit myself to this.
Right. You don't want to feel phony.
No, I didn't want to go out there and like, be a fake.
Yeah. Because, for people that don't know, like the posture that we hold in ballet is completely different than the organic way you stand as a modern dancer. Yeah.
And you don't have the pressure of like being the most extreme turned out, because you can't actually possibly do that if you're standing up by yourself in the beginning. You find your own placement, like your own limits. And you have to be okay with that, and you eventually are okay with it.
Right.
It's like, no, this is my abilities and this is fine.
Right. As opposed to like holding on a bar and wrenching everything. Yeah. That's cool. I like that. Yeah. I want to know, because when you dance, you have a really like pure way of moving. Like,
do I?
Yeah. You know that Bitter Earth video that you and Adrian just did? Yeah. It's like, before you go to move, something is like, what do you think about like when you're dancing? Where's your head at? Just
Where's my head at?
Trying to figure you out. Like,
I know.
How do you make it look so special? Do you think of tensions and opposing forces? Like, you look like everything is happening for the first time ever. And I don't know, like, what are you sensing? Do you not think about it at all? You just do it. That you just like are naturally like, this is just the way you prefer to dance.
It's like, it's funny. I had this experience during the Red Shoes, Matthew Bourne's Red Shoes. It was a lot of acting and a lot of moments where I had to go on stage and not dance. And the person that I was with, it was weird because they had to get ready. They had to like get into the character and get into the zone when we were backstage. And it was weird for me because I was like, I don't need to do that. Like I don't know why, and I don't really know how to explain it, but for some reason, as soon as I hit that barrier of on stage, I go into this place, and I go into this like, where I don't have to think about it. Like I don't have to fake it because I already know like what I have to do.
I don't know if you know what you do, but it's like everything has such a care to it. And it's almost like, you don't just step. It's like, it's with such care. It's almost like you're dancing on glass or something. Like even with your arms, and like it has such a care to it. Like there's nothing that over the course of time you're like, oh yeah, that ballet really got me to that place where I felt like I started to move in a different way. Or has that just always been your style?
I don't know. I think I hold all the ballets that we do at such a high standard. Like it's this genius thing that we're trying to bring our level to. And I want to do it justice in that way. And also going back to when I was in the school, I didn't have all those other things that these dancers had. They could get their leg up just like that. They could turn out. They could do 10 turns. They could do all these things. I couldn't do that. But I had this passion and this emotional connection to dance. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it is, and I can't ever really explain it. But for some reason, when I step out there, it is literally the most important thing that has ever been in my life.
Right. You can tell. That's what makes it so beautiful.
And it's like, yeah.
I think that's something that's different between us, that like you're incredibly emotional about your experience on stage. And I remember when Swan Lake just finished and like the second cast of people were going and you were like listening to some people's dress rehearsals and you were doing a bar backstage. Like you couldn't even hear the music without going there. And like I had...
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember? And if I had finished my Swan Lakes and I was hearing other people doing their scary dress rehearsal and in front of everybody, I would be like, ha ha, I'm done, you know? Like, you know, because you're like, oh, I did my hard thing. I put all this work into it. And now pressure's off. And like, you're invested in this emotional way where you hear it and it's like still affecting you. Like it's in such it's just connected to you in such an emotional way. I think that's one thing that makes your dancing really beautiful. It comes from this place of being so important to your spirit, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's what it is that it's, and sometimes it's overwhelming and consuming, which is not good, right? I can't like separate myself from like
you could barely talk to me that day. Do you remember that? Were you like I had?
It was this season, right? Yeah. It was like
I had to like break you out of a show. Like you weren't talking to anybody, and I was like, "How you doing?" And you're like, "I'm just still really in that place." and I still hadn't even done my performances yet, and I was not that focused.
I know. I was like, I remember because like this past time was like really emotional, and it was that Tuesday, and I was just like, it was the fourth act was happening on stage, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, I started crying.
Yeah, you were like still so there, and me, who should have been as more focused than you because I hadn't done my shows yet. I was like, what's the matter?
You're insane. I know. I'm crazy like that.
I think it's cool, though. I think it's incredible.
Oh, sorry.
It's really means, you get really into it.
I get really into it, and that's why it's, like, hard right now that, like, we don't have it.
Yeah. Let's speak about that a little bit. Like,
okay. How
are you dealing with that emotionally and physically? Not good.
Not good. It's rough. It's a day-to-day thing. It's
because for you, the season is like you really get ramped up for it, and you're like, I mean, usually you have like crazy hard schedule, so you're like getting ready to go.
Yeah, and I don't like to have downtime, even though I know I need it. I don't like to have downtime, and that's like death to me. It's like really, it's hard for me to go through something like that. But
wait, Sarah, can you put the phone on something still?
There. Is that good?
Yeah, I'm a director too. That's okay. Good. I like that.
It was really hard in the beginning, and then it got harder because then the reality set in, right? That like, we're not going to have a season. We don't know what we're going to do this summer. We don't know what's next. And also I was going through this phase of, our job is not essential, and it's weird and it's a screwed up thing to think about.
That's a little sad.
It's like, okay, so like the world, like, we don't really need to be doing what we're doing. So what's the point? Like, I just had all these like really crazy thoughts going on.
Like people will go on without our art form, and that's just fine. Yeah, it's a sad thing.
Right.
Because we live in a world where it's everything.
Yeah.
And it's important, and it's necessary, and it's really,
Yeah.
in fact, not. Yeah.
Right. And so I've sort of passed that because people are like, well, no, when we get back to this, people are going to need art. They're going to need to go see these things. They're going to need to be together. They're going to need to experience these things to heal and to get back to
it's true.
what they were. And so I've sort of moved past that now. And now I've gotten myself down to a schedule, which is very you, Megan. I'm being very you right now. I have gotten myself to a schedule where I'm in my studio here.
Show everybody your space.
Okay, well, I need to hold on. I'm going to turn the light up. I'm going to keep myself in the middle of the camera. Okay, I'm going to turn the light up. Hold on. I need to plug in my light that's in my room, in my studio.
You can step away if you need to.
No.
I have editing skills, Sarah. I can cut and paste.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to turn my light up. Okay, here we go.
Oh, nice.
There we go. There's my stuff. There's my workout stuff. Here's my bar. And I have mirrors.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's good that you have a mirror.
There we go.
That's great.
So
it's a little messy.
It's a little messy. Well, the thing is, when we moved into this apartment last year, when we renovated, we didn't do anything with the second bedroom. This is the second bedroom.
Okay.
So we had actually just put like boxes and like stuff in here that we don't, like all that stuff in the back there. We haven't done anything with it.
I see.
So when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is happening. This is going to be my space. And I got these of Marley.
That's great.
Yeah. So I spend like 5 to 6 hours in here a day, like doing classes and moving, and it makes me feel like I'm going to work. It makes me feel like I'm going to work,
Sarah,
Megan.
6 hours a day?
Well, I don't like constantly like work out. It's like
you're like rolling out, stretching out, like you're like in the mode, like you just finished a ballet and like
like I do a Cunningham class and then I stretch for a little while and then I do something else and then I do a workout.
On your phone while you're stretching, or are you just like in there in silence for 6 hours?
No.
Well, we want to know like how intense are you?
No, I have my iPad in here. I have my phone. I have a speaker, and I connect it, and like I put music on, and like I do this thing now where the Berlin Philharmonic they have all of their concerts up online for
great.
free to listen to.
That's nice.
And like I've been going through that, and so it's like I feel like I'm going to work. Like I feel like I have a goal, and I have to go, and I have a purpose.
Yeah.
And I have my morning to myself, and I have the evening to myself, but I have to have this time during the day where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in. I'm still a ballet dancer. I want to feel like one, even though we don't have a goal of like when we're going to perform again right now. But I'm at least like making an effort and trying to do my job.
That's incredible. 5 to 6 hours a day. You're in your little studio.
I mean, I go in and out, but like,
are you in there with your cashews?
Oh yeah, please. I have nuts in here. Yeah, I do. Okay.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, last question.
Okay.
What has been your most rewarding experience because like you're someone that each performance means so much to you. Mm-hmm. Is there one that stands out, like even if it was just a rehearsal process, something that stands out as being like, that was everything I've ever wanted it to be. I could do that over and over again. Is that a hard question?
God, yes, Megan. Can you answer that with one answer?
Yeah, like those like well, it could be like one ballet every time you do it. It's like you're like, this is it for me. Like, is Diamonds like that for you?
Yeah.
You know?
Even though it's like,
we should say George Balanchine's Jewels. Diamonds from Jewels.
Oh, yes. Diamonds from Jewels. Yes, I literally want to die every time. But yes, by the end, I'm like, that's it. Like, that's like genius. Or like Mozartiana. I have a heat stroke every time.
Yeah.
But like, it is genius, right? It is this thing where it's like, but there are certain experiences that I've had with dancers, like Barber Violin Concerto with Jared.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It's like,
I know, I love that
oh my
music.
God.
I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's true.
And
then I come out on stage and ruin that feeling. That was
ruin it all. You just ruin it, Megan. I love it. No, I've had like experiences in my career, like performances that I can literally remember and step back into and be like, those were high points in my career.
Because you seem like a person that would remember every show in a certain way and look back and think about them. Like, I cannot even remember. But, like, I feel like you have, like, a real... You're internalizing it in a certain way that it's sticking with you for a long time.
Yeah, like, I don't remember everything, but it's... Yeah. Like, this past season, like, the fall season and this past season, I was like, whoa. Like, I don't know if I will have that again in my career.
For
those
you,
feelings.
Does it have to be difficult and like physically challenging to be worth it? Because sometimes those, for me, are the most rewarding. Like if I go out there and I didn't break a sweat, sometimes I'm like, what was the point? You know, for me, that's how pas de quatre always was in Swan Lake. Like it wasn't hard enough. I need it to be to a certain level where it feels like it was a challenge and I accomplished it.
I don't think it has to be like that. For me, it definitely helps if it is a challenge that like, you know, you've given all of yourself and you have nothing left.
Right.
Like that feeling is like, no, there's nothing better than that. Right. But there are some ballets where you're like, whoa, and you didn't have to really try that hard. It's just, it is what it is.
Right.
But there's not many of those for you and me. There's there's not many of those, but there's some, but
okay. This is the last question. I lied before. Okay. I've never really asked you, like, what do you want to do someday when you're not a dancer? Are you going to always be a dancer? Are you going to be like retired, but in this room for 6 hours a day? That's what we're all curious about.
I mean, my dream is to have like a studio like that thing I posted of Sylvie Guillaume. That studio that she has, like in the open air, like in the freaking, like, I don't know where she is. Oh my God, you need to Google her Don Q studio. Like, it's insane. I would love to have a studio like that. Anyway.
So, like, she just has a studio for herself and no one else?
Yeah.
And she's just dancing because...
I think it's at her house. It's like her country house or something.
So she's just dancing because she can't stop dancing.
Right.
I do envision you that way.
But no, I can't dance forever.
Right.
Like,
so what do you think in your head? Like, what do you like? When I can't anymore, that's what I'm going to do. You don't go there like I do?
I don't have the answer to that right now, which is very scary.
Well, that's okay.
Well, not to you. When I talk to you, you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm getting ready for this. I'm in business school.
But I still don't know what I'm going to do.
I feel useless sometimes when I talk to you. You're just like...
But I did not stretch for 5 hours, so that's something I'm missing out. And maybe it's visible when I...
But that's your nightmare.
Lift my leg.
That is your nightmare to do that.
That's true. Well, I'm surprised that you can stretch at the beginning of the day because I can't. Like, I can only stretch once I've gotten warm, and I stretch after class, like, 5 minutes.
Okay, well, in the mornings, like, I take a really hot shower for, my shower's not like 2 minutes. Like, I'm in there for a little bit.
You're warming up your muscles. Okay.
And then I roll out, and then I stretch.
So there's a little warm
And then, because I can't really attend class at all if I don't do that.
Okay.
Like, so it's not going to
You didn't really answer my question, but would you say that, like, you'll always be dancing in some way? Is that how you kind of feel about yourself? Like,
no, I can't. We can't physically do that.
I know, but you could do, like, a Misha kind of transition.
I definitely would not be as cute.
You know? So you don't envision yourself doing like this modern transition like Baryshnikov did?
I mean, maybe.
You've seriously never thought about that?
I guess I haven't.
So what have you thought about?
Oh my God. But you think about that stuff, Megan.
So you really don't. This is like amazing. I should be more like this to go more with the flow.
No, you shouldn't. You need to be you. And you are very, like, you know what you want to do. And
So
you're going to do it.
you're just going to go with the flow, though. That's kind of how you're just seeing how it goes.
Yeah, it's like, I need to see what's next. I don't know. I guess I'm very in the moment of, like, taking advantage of what this moment is right now in my career and doing everything I can with it. And
that's good.
Then we'll see what the next phase is. Yeah, just see what the next phase is. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Which is, honestly, yes, it might be irresponsible in some people's minds.
No, it's not. Like, I find it curious, like, what someone who is so invested in their performances that they're still living in it a week after it's over. I know. How you will deal someday with not dancing.
I don't see. It's very scary. I don't know, but I am hoping that when the day comes that
your body will hurt enough that you'll just be
this career is over, that it will be an easy decision. Like, it won't be
because you lived every day of dancing to its fullest.
Yeah, and then I'll know, okay, this is it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm really, really hoping that's what happens.
And I think you will be fulfilled always. You love music and going to the Philharmonic. Like, you can fulfill those artistic sensibilities in another way and go and watch performances. Like, do you enjoy watching ballet just as much as you do dancing it? Yeah, me too.
It's hard. It's really hard.
But I think when we're done dancing, we'll feel differently. I think it's, as a dancer, to be on the, what do you call it? The fourth wall. Is it the fourth wall? It's not the fifth wall. It's the fourth wall. To be on that other side while you're in the middle of your performance career is kind of like a weird head game. Because when you get there and then you get back on the other side as the performer, you're totally overanalyzing it in a different way. And so I kind of like to not get into that place. I like to live in our world and look out. Much. Yeah, me too.
And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that to other dancers. Because
I see. You don't enjoy it.
Because we're being judged. We're the ones, when we're up there, they're judging us, or they're possibly judging us. So it's like, I don't even want to put myself or them in that position, because we are so in it right now. We are so in it and judging every moment of it.
Yeah.
And also, I think what we were talking about before is when we know when we're done is also, that's a very good thing, because I've done that with certain ballets now already, where it's like, okay, I know that I can put that away, that I can leave that behind and know that I had a good 10 years with it.
What ballet is that for you that you've put behind?
Well, like Dewdrop.
Right.
Like,
you put that away. You were like,
I put it away. I got really, really hurt by it, like injury wise, and I have like PTSD, and I'm just like, I'm okay. Like, I had good times with it. And there's some other ones too. And I'm just like, I think that helps you in the end.
That's true.
Of like letting go
true.
This time.
That's true. What would be, another question. 3 questions later, we'll be done. What would be your advice to young dancers that feel like maybe you did when you were first in the school, like, everyone's above me, like, what is the point? Like, I don't fit in here. Like, this seems impossible. Because that might be really inspiring for them to be like, wow, you felt that way, and look at where you are now.
I would say from my experience that having that feeling, allow it to push you even further.
Right.
And you'll never be complacent, and you'll never, you'll always be working twice as hard as the person next to you. Which is what I feel like now. It's like I always feel that. I'm always like, okay, I don't have what she has, and I need to try and get there. I need to try and accomplish that. I'm not going to, but I have to try. And even with myself, like I never have a show where I'm like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, oh my God, did you see that? Like, I never had that. You've never heard that out of my mouth.
But that's what I actually find like inspiring about you. I wish I was more like you can just go out there and be like, it is what it is. And if something didn't go right, I like really have to like avoid a depression about it. Like, I'm like, don't get upset. Like,
no. It's not that I don't get upset, girl. I get upset.
You get upset? Okay, good. That makes me feel better.
God, poor Becky Crone, one of my ballet mistresses. She is like, she has to be a therapist to me after the show a lot of the time, because she's just like, girl, you need to forget about
that.
But
I feel like you have a go with the flow mentality in your performing too. Like, remember when we were filming in Paris a couple years ago, and I was doing Sonatine and you were doing Faust, Walpurgis Night, and you were like, whatever happens, happens. I am going for it. I am still doing my thing. And I was in the mindset of, I am going to control this whole experience. And there is not going to be any mistakes. I am not going to fall over. Like, I was like in the dressing room with you, and I was like, wow, that's how she approaches that. And that's why you're a really entertaining person to watch, because you're just like, you have to admit, you're like, if I fall, I fall.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think in that show, I was just really, really tired from the tour, and I'm just like, I just want to get through this, and I can't think about anything else. But I am like that, yes. Like what Suzanne Farrell has said before, and she said, I rehearse options.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
And for what's going to happen out there. So whatever you rehearse, I know that's not what's going to happen out there. I know. It's going to be something I've never done before, and bad or good. But I'm going to get so wrapped up in the moment, in the music and the ballet and my partner and everything else, that I know things are going to go really wrong. But it's going to happen.
Or different.
Or different. And then that gives me something to work on for the next show. Like Albert Evans, our ballet master, he always come back and be like, girl, we're going to work on that tomorrow. We're going to get in the studio tomorrow. We're going to work on that. You know,
right?
It's like you have to have room to keep working. You can't just be like, well, that was fierce, and I'm not going to have to work on. No.
Do you think we work with people that think that? Okay.
We could go Us Weekly right now, but we are not going to do that.
Okay. No, but that's good. I like that thought of rehearsing options. Because sometimes I'm always thinking, gosh, how stressful to, like, we're going out there and having to do our most perfect version in front of 2,600 people. That's how I've always thought of it. I want my fullest potential of everything I was most capable of in rehearsal to be unveiled to the audience. And when that doesn't happen, because I approach it that way, I get into this mindset that's really frustrating. But rehearsing options, that gives a little breathing room for experimenting in performance. And I
mean, trust me, like, I was like so upset when I couldn't finish my fouettes, like when I didn't do the first show of our Swan past time. Like, so upset. But they were all like, girl, it's just turns. Like, you have another show, just like whatever. Like, so I definitely get very, very upset, and I get very down on myself a lot of the time. But then that's why I just work so hard in the studio, and like in the mornings by myself, I'm just like, no, I have to be able to do this. Like, I have to work to be able to do this.
So then once you approach it the second time, how do you not get into that headspace of, oh my gosh, here it comes, and I'm putting like, I'm going to do this better. I've put all this pressure on myself to like do this better. How do you keep that from happening? Because that's another problem that I get into.
It does happen, but I'm just hoping that I put the work in the studio in between, that it will come out better. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect. I'm going to say it's going to be better.
So it's not like you try to control the situation. It's like you have set yourself up so that it can play out to its best possible in the best possible
moment.
Way. Yeah.
Because every day we wake up our body's different every day. We feel different. We're going through something different. So it's always going to be a different show. It's never going to be cookie cutter, the same thing every night.
Yeah. So you're making room for variations.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that. That way of thinking. We're good friends, but we're very, very different. But I think that's what's fun, is because you can like learn from people that have a different approach, and it can be helpful to you. Like I like the idea of not being so like, you know.
No, but it's good. Like I look at your technique and I'm just like, shoot, I need to be able to do that.
Like what?
Like when I see you do like Ramonda or what was the other, Donizetti or square dance, I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't move that fast. What
Sara,
do I have to do
Sarah,
to be able to move that fast and point my feet?
I'm like half your height.
Look like it's easy.
I'm like half the size. Like, it's my little legs. Like, it's not. My head is really close to my feet, so they go really fast. The message gets sent really quickly. So, okay, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for being a part of my talk show.
What's the name of the talk show? You haven't named it? You haven't named your talk show?
Do you have a name? Do you have a name for it?
No.
Megan Talk.
Quarantine with Megs? Quarantine with Megan.
No, that sounds depressing.
Okay.
Just for now, it's like interview with so-and-so.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Is this your third interview? Which one?
This is the third one. I'm going to interview Bobby Barnett tomorrow.
Oh.
Isn't that cute? He has a Skype account.
Cute.
Yeah. He's so cute. I love him.
And you've done Skylar and you've done Katie Morgan. That
was fun to connect. I think I'm going to also do Anna Sophia because I haven't talked to her in so long and I would love to hear what she's up to.
She was my generation in SAB.
Yeah. See, like, this is really fulfilling my need to just keep in touch with everyone. I'll probably go through the entire company by the end of these months.
You should.
Just like dancer by dancer. And all the ballet masters.
Oh, right. I mean, see what Craig Hall is doing.
Oh, that's good.
What is he doing?
Yeah, what is he doing? Yeah. I'm sure he's not stretching for 5 to 6 hours a day in his studio. I can pretty much bet you that.
Oh,
but if I find out anyone else is as serious as you, I'll let you know. Maybe some.
I am taking a day off tomorrow, though. Like, I did 5 days.
Okay.
I do 5 really hard, like, days in a row, and then I take a day off. And then,
since
it doesn't matter how long a week is.
I do like a hard day, and then I take a day off.
I know, you woke up today, and you're like, I'm exhausted. I might take a walk.
Did I say that?
Yes.
No, I did. I did Petrushka Bar.
Oh, that was yesterday.
And I did 30 minutes on the elliptical.
You have an elliptical?
Yeah. I'm all set up in quarantine life. I know. The elliptical, it's great. I know. I'm sorry.
Are you getting Marley?
I'm going to get a Marley sent to New York in case I get back by like June and we're still not allowed to be in studios. So I'm going to be prepared for that scenario, but...
let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy how sick everybody's getting, so I just want to stay safe. But
we are flattening the curve right now in New York.
I know.
It's starting to happen.
I am proud of you guys.
Thank you. But there's still people out there like going to parks and like chilling, and it just pisses me off. People need to do their job.
No. People should not be going around at all.
No.
At all.
Well, walk around the block and then come back.
Yeah. And then stretch in a room for 5 hours. Okay. And with that, we'll say goodbye. That is hysterical. This was definitely the longest interview. This was first.
It's entertaining for people.
I don't know. It's good to laugh, though. They should know. We like to laugh a lot together.
We do. But people should know that I do call you Us Weekly and that I go to you for all information.
For all the tea?
That I need to know. For all the tea. We have a moment every day. And I'm just like, Megan, what's the tea?
Who broke up? Who's back together?
Because I don't know anything. Nobody comes to me. I don't know anything.
But you do like to know. You're admitting
but
you do
like to know sometimes. Yes, I need to know. I like to listen.
I was thinking about that today. I remember I came back from being pregnant, and I knew of a couple in the company that had like broken up and got back together, and I had been gone for a year, and you didn't know about it. So it's not so much a sign of how connected I am. It's a sign of how unconnected you are.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
As you do your ballet bars in total darkness.
Oh my God.
Okay. Happy quarantining. Okay. I'm glad you have a day off tomorrow. Enjoy.
Okay.
Say hi to Josh and the dogs.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.